and we are saying, is the world coming to an end? But here we are now. It's being drawn back. We're looking at somewhere between 1,200 and 1,400, as the case may be. You'll explain that a bit further. We also, maybe let's to kick it off, there was an address by the CBN governor on the monetary policy rate. It's tangentially concerned with this, but let's look at that report before we come back to studio and talk with our specialist.
The committee's decisions are as follows.
The CBN governor says the new interest rate is a leap from the 22.7% announced by the MPC about a month ago and the second rate hike by the current committee. Mr. Cardoso also announced the retention of the cash reserve ratio of deposit money banks at 45%.
Raise the MPR by 200 basis points to 24.75 from 22.75%. 2. Adjust the asymmetric corridor around the MPR at plus 100 to minus 300 basis points. These considerations underscore the importance of the CBN's commitment to the price stability mandate and the need to urgently bring inflation under control to ensure that purchasing power of ordinary Nigerians is restored in the short to medium term.
On the rising inflation, the CBN governor assured that it will significantly drop by December, and he also acknowledged the effort of law enforcement agency in tackling issues of illegal forex transactions.
On this note, members commended the ongoing efforts of the federal government towards addressing food insecurity. Some of these measures include the provision of various palliatives, release of grains from the strategic reserves. The law enforcement agencies, of course, are now looking into those transactions that are, as far as we're concerned, not valid to be paid.
The next Monetary Policy Committee meeting will be in the month of May. Ademola Lawrence, TVC News, Abuja.
Okay, well, not to confuse the issue, because we did want to look at Naira appreciating further against the issue, and that doesn't, directly impact on this. The whole monetary scenario, it has very many different tangential corridors, and this was one of them. It doesn't really apply as much as we, to what we're going to talk about now, because it's about the Naira appreciating. Perhaps, this appreciation. You see, I was going to ask you about this, because we've been hearing that, look, for the situation to improve, then the industry's trade has to get better, and those were not things that you could do in the short term. So it was cheering news to hear this now, that following some moves by the central bank, following some policies, we'll talk about those sort of in the nature of reforms. That has been what has led to the good news that we're talking about now. Now, I imagine key among those, if I look at it here, there's this unification of exchange rate windows. Tell us about that, the unification of the exchange rate windows. So we're talking about the formal, if you want, legal, window, and the so-called black market.
I think we should all heave a sigh of relief. We are not getting into more trouble, and CBN is beginning to take charge of the monetary system, especially the foreign exchange. Over the years, CBN has always been the dominant player in the sector. Unfortunately, towards the tail end of the last regime, lost that capability, lost control of the markets. And when government came in and said, we're going to put the Naira on a free float, let market forces determine the value of the Naira, it became a turbulent world, a very difficult world for government to manage. And what did we have? We discovered that Naira was turned into a commodity, and people started speculating, making huge sums of money from it. In actual fact, they created a bubble, a bust. It has turned to a bust now. Naira went to as far as 1,900.
Yes.
And people started saying it's going to cross 2,000 margin, then it's going to, some people even said, a political economist said it may get to 10,000 Naira. So, I will call him a prophet of doom. He's a renowned economist. But that shows the level of anxiety people had and the extent of how the economy became so precarious that nobody wanted to touch the Naira. But the CBN has demonstrated capability. The CBN has shown that every problem has a solution.
Okay.
It becomes a big problem when you fold your hands and allow the system to be hijacked by all kinds of people. CBN has taken possession of that, of its the ownership of the market. It has exerted its responsibility.
Okay.
It's showing that this is the direction, these are the goals, these are the objectives, this is where we want to be, and these are the things, the terms with which you should work with.
Okay.
And
when you say that, let me just get some clarity on that. When you say that it's like the CBN now is playing its role, at least that part of its role where it needs to be hands-on. Because you also spoke a bit earlier about let market forces dominate. But again, I've heard you economists say from time to time that, wait a minute, market forces, so far so good. At certain stage, CBN has a duty to come in. So what went on here?
Before, the practice which we had was CBN defending the Naira, intervening at different positions, making sure there is enough supply. CBN has not dumped that responsibility entirely. CBN is saying the market should determine, but will not spend money out of what is expected to defend the Naira or put it in a particular range or whatever. CBN is a dominant player in that sector because it holds huge war chest to be able to continue from time to time to play its role in such a way that the economic objective of the government will be achieved. So one of the things CBN tried to do from inception, back to what you said earlier, is to make sure there is a convergence in the markets. Okay. There is no difference within the two major dominant markets, the regulated markets and the black markets, which is an anomaly on its own anyway. So CBN has been able to bridge that gap. As a matter of fact, today, the black market is cheaper than the government-regulated markets, which is a plus because we have huge money, huge foreign exchange coming from diasporas all over the world. Nobody will go to the black markets now. The value is in government-regulated markets. So government is going to continue to aggregate a lot of foreign exchange with which it can be able to channel the economy along a particular direction which will satisfy government fiscal and monetary objectives. So they've been able to achieve that convergence between the two markets. You can't buy from government, take it to the black market to become an overnight millionaire. So that's been taken care of. Big plus to the CBN. And they are doing a whole lot of things. The issue now is how did they achieve what we thought was a doom for Nigeria?
Yes. Including, I'm saying here, a clearance of the foreign exchange backlog obligations to banks.
So what CBN has been able to do is to look at where do we get foreign exchange. The one we got in the past, what happened to them? How were they spirited out of the system? They're able to say, okay, if we have this in the banking system, let's make it available as a float for the markets. The oil companies, for instance, the major oil companies, the JV partners, don't take all your money abroad. Retain 50% of your proceeds in Nigeria. That also form part of what the CBN can use to manage the foreign exchange system very well. Then a lot of other factors. There were about 5,000 borrowed to change that were inactive. They were just being used to siphon money from the system. They just buy and sell to God knows what, who. So they've been able to streamline all this. 4,000 of them have been taken out of the markets. And now CBN is saying we're also making more money from oil. Oil output has improved. Government is making more money, making more dollars from oil operations. In addition to that, they're beginning to put their instruments into the market to attract foreign investment. Our open market operations are back. They're active. Foreigners are the dominant players. When they come with their portfolio investment, they are coming with dollars, they are not coming with Naira. So we are beginning to hold a stock of convertible currency that can make CBN to improve on the supply of foreign exchange to the markets.
And that immediately begins to impact because it's not as scarce as it used to be. And what's also this thing that is referred to as a removal of the daily cap of 2 billion Naira on remunerable standing deposit facilities?
That's also really working, helping your government to make sure, CBN to make sure that people are not pushed out of the markets, looking for way to outside the regulated markets, looking for dollar and black markets, trying to play games with the markets. People are beginning to see that every transaction you have to do, legal transaction can be accommodated within the monetary system, within the regulated channels, within the banking system, or through the bureau de change. And the government is funding virtually all these channels. Bureau de change were giving, for instance, $20,000 at a point. They were asked to trade within 1.5% margin or thereabouts.
Yes.
So at the end of the day,
before, when they could do anything that
they could only take about half of that, really, because their requirement for filing, their regulatory requirement for who you can sell to and what they can use it for. So at the end of the day, they were only able to take about $10,000 or thereabouts. So we are beginning to see the economy, the foreign exchange market, in an entirely different form, the way it should be. The CBN is beginning to play its big role, regulating the system, providing incentives for effective trading, effective transactions within the system. So it's not whole yet. We are not yet where we should be, but we are beginning to see signs of recovery. We are beginning to see that we've made progress, and we're able to intensify on those policies. Will make a lot of gains, and Naira will recover its value.
Let me ask a simplistic question. So what was preventing this state of affairs from being in the previous administration, for instance?
Well, it's still a mystery to many onlookers, and a lot of corruption from what we can see, from facts being put into the public space. Corruption, ineptitude, inefficiency, lack of decency in governance. These things have impacted negatively on the ability of the CBN to play its role as lenders, as a regulator, as provider of foreign exchange. You know, it got to a point that we could barely account for oil proceeds in Nigeria. It was like Nigeria was not making anything from oil. But now they've been able to streamline the process and say oil proceeds goes directly to the CBN. It's not going to be tampered with at the NNPC level. Whatever comes in is coming to will be domiciled with the CBN. So government has been able to stamp its authority on the system. What government now needs to do is to continue to reinvent the system and begin to work on the fiscal side of the economy in such a way that the gains should be fully harnessed.
Okay. What's the focus that we hear is now in operation on a willing buyer, willing seller kind of a scheme? And how is that different from before?
You know, we talked about market forces.
Yes.
Demand and supply, as simple as it is. When demand is high and supply is low, prices will go up. But what CBN has been able to do is to work on the supply side in such a way that government can, or the CBN on its own, can ensure that demand is not necessarily far higher than supply. So when that comes to willing buyer, willing seller, you want to say, I want to buy, I want to sell, we handshake at the point of equilibrium. And that equilibrium is not at a disadvantage to government or to either of the parties, because if you need this, government is now saying we can provide it. Unlike before, when I need it, I can't get it, then price started to skyrocket. But that has changed.
And the middleman margin.
The middleman margin, everything has been wiped off. CBN is playing a strategic position of the regulator and the player in the sector. CBN has a war chest. It's the custodian of foreign exchange in Nigeria. It's making sure that demand does not necessarily outgrow supply, so that we don't have this equilibrium and we don't have price soaring like we've had in the last 6 months or thereabouts. So it's good for Nigeria. We are at a turning point. We have to make sure we continue to push, make sure that every kobo from oil is properly accounted for, which is a main source of. Then making sure that we also buy Nigeria. People are beginning to embrace that willingly. People are getting excited about it. And if you look at the trend in the last 3-6 months or thereabouts, people no longer dream of going abroad to study. It's beyond the reach of the middle class. People no longer think of holiday abroad. They're beginning to look at places in Nigeria where they can go and rest and catch some fun. People are not even thinking of medical tourism. It's beyond the reach of the middle class. So if you can afford it at the money bags, and people who are directly or indirectly related to national votes, to national treasury, and now the honors or the responsibilities on the government to make sure that you also tighten up that side. The more you're able to tighten up, the less the demand on foreign exchange. So by and large, demand for foreign exchange, especially before the summer rush will come, is likely to continue to decline. CBN should take advantage of that to consolidate on its position, draw the Naira back as much as possible. I don't fancy drastic drop in the value of Naira, whatever. I prefer a steady, rapid growth in the value of the Naira. The way you have volatility, it's dropping so progressively, it's not always in the interest of the markets. You begin to see more volatility cause for unnecessary trading activities. So gradually it will stabilize. Gradually it will get to a point where investors will have confidence to come into Nigeria. They know there is stability in exchange rates. Then you have steady growth. The budget benchmark for this year is 800 Naira. I don't know if government still very keen about that position because if you are getting 1,200 Naira, for instance, and you have to get 800, it's also a disincentive to government because the value, the Naira receipt of the Federation account will decline. But I don't think government should be myopic. Government should look at the larger interests of the economy, continue to push, continue to sanitize the system, continue to make sure that you encourage people to buy Nigeria. Think about that too. Some people are even dumping mobile lines and saying, no, we are only buying indigenous lines just to make sure that they don't make money from Nigeria, repatriate it to their own country and begin to suffer the consequences. So the action should be multifaceted. CBN should continue to streamline the system, get the banks to avoid anything that would be inimical to their operations, no more foreign exchange deals to make excess profits, begin to look at the anti-graft institutions, tightening up on politicians, on public officers, especially at the state levels, where the governors junket the whole world and they bring nothing, where they spend money as if they are minting money, where their children live like lots of the manor. They steal a lot of money from the system. You hardly see projects, you hardly see anything. Most states are collecting 3 times what they were collecting before May 29. People should be able to say, where is the system to make sure that this money is not stolen? And for whatever reason, whatever is stolen in Nigeria, the bulk of it goes abroad for God knows what.
That's the unfortunate.
They take it abroad to live large, the kind of lifestyle they can't imagine in Nigeria. They begin to do all kinds of things abroad, flying private jet and all this stuff. And they are not creating that value at home to justify that kind of
and all of
larger than life.
And all of that could happen simply because the system wasn't as tight as it appears to be becoming nowadays in Nigeria. It's like, you know, when the Tinubu administration was saying back in the day before all of this that it's not going to be business as usual. Now, this is direct evidence of that. And as you said,
and I think it is to the credit of the president too that he has said, even ministers' trip and all this stuff will be regulated. Just don't jump on the plane for all kinds of programs and all stuff. He has been able to say to streamline it, reduce those things, reduce our exposure to foreign consumptions, things that are not necessary, trainings that are not necessary, trainings that can be done online, training that can be sourced locally from our universities, from all training institutions. Those things should be done locally. I think he should continue to look inward, look more, streamline the public finance, making sure that people don't get economic rent from the system. People don't get rewarded more than the effort they have put into the system. Now the challenge is, what do you do with the subnationals? These are the things that we think government will be able to look at as time goes on.
Okay, let's take Mr. George calling in from Ikeja. A fine morning to you. Good morning, George in Ikeja. Oh dear. Oh dear, dear, dear. Can you hear us? Mr. George in Ikeja, calling in from Ikeja. No? Well, maybe you are hearing us, but there's a problem coming in. So see if in the next few seconds you do come in. But are we still a far way away from the banks now are also becoming involved with this as far as the ordinary person is concerned, by which I mean...
Okay, good morning.
Aha, fine morning to you, Mr. George. Yeah, we can hear you now. Good morning.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello?
Are you watching television? Because I'm using sign language in case you can't hear me. I can hear you. Oh dear. I can hear you. Please go ahead. There are days like this. It still is Good Friday. Mr. George, you can't hear us. But I just heard you, so I knew that there might be something afoot. So sorry about that. But if you can, just butt in anytime, because I was just asking our guest, Mr. Udeji, for the banks to come into it, by which I mean that, because, you know...
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Speak. No, that was a line. That was one of those network problems that people often talk about. We even have it between us. Say, but I could hear you and I was saying hello. Maybe that is the kind of thing here. I don't know if you disengage and then come back on. And okay, tell you what. Maybe we'll take a break and sort of shake up the lines a bit. Sometimes it happens like that. When you switch off your phone and you put it back on, things are better. So stay with us, please. We'll just take a quick break. We'll continue where we left off.
TVC News Weekend Lineup. TVC Breakfast Saturday with Kemi Fola Adeyemo and Emmanuel Ajayi. Political Standpoint with Precious Amayo. Newsweek with Mark Otabo and Jacinta Ugochukwu. Politics on Sunday with Femi Akonde. Community Forum with Sarah Yeku. Get ready for the biggest stories, fresh perspectives, and burning news discussions that round up the weekend. Only on TVC News.
First with breaking news.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked, and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Experience information and entertainment like never before as TVC Breakfast takes your weekends to a whole new level. Introducing TVC Breakfast Weekend Edition, your ultimate source of thrilling sports updates, insightful political analysis, and captivating entertainment news. Stay in the know with what's trending, catch up with the latest in sports, and immerse yourself in the latest buzz from the world of music and movies. Your weekends are no longer just days off, but moments packed with knowledge, excitement, and enjoyment. TVC Breakfast Weekend Edition, only on TVC News.
The Inspector General of Police has met with senior officers to review the state of security.
We are continuing our coverage of the arrest of Godwin Emefiele.
The Senate has summoned the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria to properly brief the Senate regarding the state of the economy.
President Bola Tinubu has announced the total removal of fuel subsidy.
The fresh subsidy is gone. What I will never take is threat.
Let's now bring you more development from Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, where an explosion has taken place. Tell us about this incident.
TVC News. First with breaking news.
Okay, welcome back, and we're looking at the Naira and its appreciation further against the dollar in the last couple of days or so. So encouraging that we're talking about it. It's come from the horrible, almost unimaginable figure of around 1,800, nudging towards 1,900, to now anywhere between 1,200 and 1,400. And our guest is the economist Kayode Oyedeji. Mr. George Ikeja called in. Are you still with us?
Yes, Uncle Eric.
Good morning to you. Good morning.
And good morning to your guests, too.
Yes.
Good morning, George.
Uncle Eric, I said everything is beginning to look as if this is the first time Nigeria is having a president. I noticed that those children from broken homes on social media who are abusing people every day have suddenly gone mute. When things are improving, you don't hear people. It is when it is going bad.
Yes.
It's bad news they want to.
Bad news spread. Really travels.
They thought Naira will go to 5,000. But when it is going the other way around, they get disappointed. I wonder what kind of people we have in this our country. I would want to urge the president and his team to remain undaunted and just move on. The governor of CBN, in my view, should still pounce on the bank CEOs. They are watching. They are looking for an opportunity to see toward it and make something out of it. I don't think with all the damage they've done to our forex administration in the past, we should just overlook things and let them remain there. Many of them are not supposed to be there again. That is one recommendation I want to give to Mr. Cardoso.
Okay.
Once beating, they say you are twice shy. So, but for the thing, I really commend them, and everything that the president is doing is vindicating me. I have a brother who was mocking me that why am I supporting this person? And I said, you don't know what I know. Just give President Tinubu 2 years. And I'm repeating it on air. By the time he's 2 years in office, let's come back together and assess him. But I'm happy the way things are moving. Good morning, Buhari.
Good morning, and thank you very much. Also, thank you for your persistence on that particular call. George had so much faith, he didn't let go of it since that first time. It's not as if he called and came back in again. He just stuck with it. He said, look, I have this strong connection. Let me wait. And, you were finally able to say your piece. And he's reiterating what we said, that Tinubu had said that it's not going to be business as usual. And there were the naysayers, but would you like to comment on the point that he made that, look, this will not be pleasing to all. Not everybody is going to be happy at these improvements. Marginally moderate for the moment, but still.
I think we are getting back into the era which we had, the situation which we had between 2003 and 2007, when we had double-digit growth in the economy. I think at the point we had 14% growth, which was one of the highest in the world. I think we will eventually get to that point to be able to sustain the reforms within the economy, cut down the cost of running government, bringing more efficiency and discipline into the regulatory system across board, not just the CBN, making sure there is efficiency within the economy. And one focus of the president is to make sure that the private sector is the engine room of growth for the economy.
Okay.
Is beginning to bring that back. I've stated, even in this studio many times, Eco Atlantic was not built with government money. The same philosophy can be deployed to sort out most of our infrastructural needs. And I'm happy that the coastal highway from Lagos to Calabar is beginning to take shape. That's going to be a model for the government to deploy to address most of the road infrastructure issues that we have in Nigeria. So if you look at the philosophy of this government is about wealth creation. This government is going to create a lot of wealth. So individuals must begin to position themselves, corporations, individuals. Yesterday, the CBN came up with banking consultation. They are trying to aggregate much more money in the banking system so that they can lend back to the economy. They can give people, the economy can be credit-driven. That's a big plus.
It looks like for the first time, people who understand anything about it at all appear to, have the reins now, unlike the way we were carrying on before.
Oh, the way he started government, his administration, the first thing he did was to remove fuel subsidy. People are yet to recover from that shock. It was unexpected. And people thought, he has made a big mistake. But in actual fact, he took a very difficult decision at the right time. If he had waited, he would have started consultation with the labor, consultation with the private sector, the organized private sector. It would have been a very clumsy thing, and he would not have been able to achieve what he achieved at the end of the day.
Now.
But he understands the dynamics of governance very well. And he knows key decisions he must take. He has taken those decisions. Those decisions are not one that will immediately put smiles on the faces of the people. But those decisions too have consequences. If he's able to manage those consequences very well, then we are on a path to what Singapore achieved in the 50s and the 60s.
Indeed.
Provided he's able to get the governors in particular to buy into his philosophy, into his ideas, into his determination to bring about change in the economy. You see, Nigeria runs a federalism that is complicated. People don't know, for instance, that almost half of proceeds of oil subsidy removal will go to their governors. So when you go to outside Lagos, for instance, everybody is blaming Tinubu in Osun State, but they've not been able to ask themselves in Osun State or in Ogun State or in Akwa Ibom, what is your governor doing his own portion of the money?
Increased revenue.
If you're earning 2 billion naira in Osun State, for instance, in about 2 years ago, Osun is almost 8 billion naira per month.
And where is that money coming from?
Where is that money going to? What are the projects?
More importantly, where is it going to?
Where is the money going to? If your governor is always abroad, what does he have brought back home? Why is it wasting foreign exchange? Why is it wasting the state and resources? So the problem is actually going to be because of the nature of our federalism. It's complicated. Half of those proceeds will go to state and local governments. And don't be surprised if some local government chairmen begin to spend the money the way they like. There must be some understanding between the federal government, the state, and the local government on specifics that this money would be spent on. The education, have peer review structure that will compel them to put those monies there. Don't just assume they will. There was a time in this country that we had first lady at the local government level. And interestingly, they bought vehicles for those first ladies. They did all kinds of stuff. Privileges that even mayor of London that has a budget almost as big as Nigeria doesn't enjoy.
That they don't enjoy.
So these are the things we need to do. What are you going to do? We had SAP in this country. And SAP would have been a success. Unfortunately, the proceeds of SAP was diverted to
the structural adjustment program.
Diverted to buying big cars for the president, hosting one African Union or whatever, and at the end of the day, nothing got to the people. We must avoid that calamity this time.
Okay. Do we have another caller? I don't know what's happening. Apparently, there is a caller on the line. I don't know what the systems are about today, but there is a caller on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. Good morning to your guest in the studio.
Good morning, sir.
So,
Garba.
President.
Okay.
Garba, yes.
Yes, from Benue
First
State.
of all, I wish the president happy birthday. Yes, I wish him happy birthday. I wish him more health, more life.
Yes.
God to give him the wisdom to run this country well.
As you know, the president has said that he wants it extremely low key, so much so that even if it wasn't mentioned, he has no problem. But thank you very much.
Yes, Uncle Yori, always. So secondly, Uncle Yori, if today government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu succeed, it's not him that succeeds, it's Nigeria that succeeds. Honestly, people should know that. If today the government succeeded, it's not the government that succeeded, it's Nigeria generally. Let's appreciate this effort that he made. Honestly, I'm glad, I'm happy. As the dollar is, Naira is getting again towards dollar. And I'm calling on our business people, businessmen and women, to be sincere, to be honest in whatever they are doing. Now the dollar is crashing, but the price of our commodity is not crashing. Why? When we go to market, they will tell us the dollar is like that, but now they're not saying dollar already crashed. Why? Let's answer ourselves this question. It's not the fault of the government now. It's the fault of our businessmen and women. Then lastly, I'm holding on the government. A program of social safety net that is planned, please, as a matter of urgency, as a matter of national importance, wallahi, if you release this to society, this will change all these crying prices of things will go down. As the plan that you're making for nano business, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, let him release it. Then, wallahi, if you release that money, all these things will die down.
Indeed.
You see how our economy will change.
Yeah.
It must say.
Yeah.
You give us 50,000. What do you expect tomorrow? A vulcanizer that is by the roadside, you give him 50,000. What do you expect tomorrow? Someone that is selling pure water, you give him 50,000. What do you expect tomorrow? That's how the economy will boost. Nigerians are minimalists. We don't need recruit from the government. Honestly, too, we can have no doctor in starting with that responsibility. So, as a matter of fortune, just release it and see. Have a nice day over there.
Thank you very much, Garuba. Thank you, Garuba, for calling in. Appreciate your call. I don't know if it's the same Garuba. I don't know. I don't think there was another Garuba calling in from Makurdi. So I think we lost that one, but we thank you too. And also we're sorry that we lost the first Garuba that called in. He's going back to the point you made. And also, the other very important thing, the way our people regard what is going on. The very first decision of Tinubu was removing fuel subsidy. It was a very difficult one. It shocked a lot of people. They thought a mistake had been made. But you also made the very important point that now states that were receiving X are now receiving X times 2 or 3 or 4. You cited the example of Osun State, where it was, up to 4 times as much. Now, but the people, I don't think, are aware of this benefit of what happened, and so are not asking their leaders. So, where are those projects, as you said, that have been earmarked and that are and we can see, so that if everybody was doing what you were saying, then we would know that, okay, price of fuel has gone up because subsidy has been removed. But I'm surprised that roads have reached areas in my state that they never reached before, that schools are springing up all over the place. But maybe people need to question their leaders, their governors, and all of those, and then cut out these wastages. I don't know. It's
important. You see what the governor of Niger State is doing. Agriculture is planning to cultivate about 2 million hectares of land this year. Any governor that is not doing that is an economic saboteur. And people must be able to ask their governors, where are the investments that will create jobs? Where are the investments that will make life more meaningful for the people? The reality is, any governor that's not investing in infrastructure and agriculture at this time is
not doing something right.
Working against the people.
Indeed.
Is on a sabotage mission. And people should be able to hold their governors accountable.
I don't think any governor would want to sabotage his people. Maybe they don't know enough.
Don't know the implication of some of the things they are doing.
Yes.
This is the truth.
Sorry, sir. Let me know. Mazi Okorafo is on the line. Let us not lose him. Good morning, Mazi Okorafo.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, my brother in the studio.
Good morning.
Well, thank God that today is Good Friday. We give God the glory. Sayuri, I guess, so you see, what we face in Nigeria today is that in Nigeria today, what do? We export religion and we import raw materials. Have you seen the process? And today now, we have to work at least to make sure that what we are having in Nigeria, we make use of it. If you go to Zimbabwe, 80% of what they are doing now, most of they are using all this foreign investment does not help the economy. Now, to come to Nigeria, exactly, all these projects you see in Nigeria today, maybe all those people who bring all this in that, they would like you to pay them based on that hard currency. which is not good for our own economy. Look at the machinery we're talking. The government said they will waive this, they will waive this, they will waive this. At the end of the day, what are we seeing? The people inside the authority who are in charge of all these things, they don't follow the system, what the government has said. So we are good in all these policies, but we have to be very careful. All these regulators that we have in Nigeria, all these currencies, all these stuff, the banks are there, the financial are there, the apex currency is there. But all these regulators are around, without putting that, there are people making all these things very, very difficult for businessmen. Now tell me, if one is going to the bank now, you want to get something maybe outside Nigeria, you see that like what one of the man was talking about last time in one of the programs that we were covering here. He said that here in Nigeria, everything moves. But what is happening at that? The type of currency or the type of rate they give those manufacturers from Nigeria is different from what they give others from outside. Possibly so. Everything should be in equilibrium. Everything should balance so that the economy will move forward. But when we see that now, we continue depending on foreign, leaving our own. That is why we see all this. How would Nigeria, tomorrow they will say that Naira is 1,600, 1,000, let us have what is just a balance rate that will balance so that all these contractors, all these importers, they will balance well.
All right,
if
then.
all these things affect them,
Okay,
they also have
all right.
so pass all the.
All right, Mazi. Thank you very much, Mazi, for calling in. Indeed, everybody's applauding the fact that things are looking up. We're not where we need to be, as you've emphasized. In other words, there's much room for improvement, but at least we're pointed in the correct direction now, and it can only get better. You also had said that we have to now make business, make things easy for business, so that we can begin. We can enhance our production. All of that will factor in. And also maybe some sort of an orientation for Nigerians who, they like everything foreign, they like everything. I am a Nigerian as well. So this is the point. We've got to, that will be our own bit in terms of our shoulder to the wheel if we begin to look for Nigerian alternatives. Now, the banks, there's this amusing digital sign that you see in all banks, little digital box with scrolling the UK pound, Kinikon yen, Kinikon dollar, buying this much, selling. So it's a visual joke. Banks in Nigeria like that visual joke because if you now point at that sign and say, now that you're talking about it, I would like some pound sterling, please. Maybe the one that will even answer you would tell you to meet XYZ outside in front there. Just meet him outside in front here. But I have money in my account now, my domiciliary account. So is that going to change anytime soon? That joke, that banking joke that banks across Nigeria insist on cracking.
Those things used to be correct.
Yes, they used to be correct and indicative of what can be done.
You have your visa, you go there, you check what they have on the board, you present your passport, you ask for your dollar or thereabout, they give you even more than you want. We are getting back into that era.
Okay.
And with what CBN is doing now, we will be able to get back there. CBN is keen about one thing, which is fantastic. CBN is keen to fund all regulated channels. CBN doesn't want you to go to black market under any circumstance. So they're even funding the borrow the change. They offered them $20,000 at the point. They couldn't even take as much as that. Okay. So CBN is trying to say every regulated channel, for the purpose of planning, for the purpose of running an efficient system, every transaction should go there. And I think in years to come, we'll see a situation whereby even our brothers and sisters abroad will not be willing to do black market operations.
Okay, there's one of them
They're
on
almost
the phone.
getting there. Presently, nobody will do that.
There's one of them on the phone. Atune is in the UK and is called in. Good morning, Atune.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. I appreciate you coming on the show. I just wanted to add that we have to be careful about just assuming that things are looking in the right direction because the real problem is instability. When things are unstable, business cannot plan. And the depreciation of the currency really needs to happen. And you can take it for an example. If you are an individual, you have $100 and you have 1,000 Naira. That $100 you have to make your own arrangements so that you can be able to spend only that $1,000. So what Nigeria is doing is that we don't have $1,000, but we have need for about, we don't have $100. We have need for about $1,000. And the Nigerian government is not discouraging people from using the dollars. It's just last week they started doing it. You remember, the spokesman of the government came out and said Nigerians should start buying Nigerian-made goods. In other words, use Naira. Guess what happened? The currency started appreciating. That is something they should have done a long time ago. They should have known that. But they didn't do that. I've been talking about it for a very long time. That how can you not have enough currency, foreign currency, and your people keep creating foreign currency? Even in the House of Assembly was giving people $1,000. How is it that you are doing that? The Nigerian government is selling its own aircraft in dollars.
Yeah.
You are supposed to encourage people to use Nigerian currency so that you can stimulate the local economy and discourage the use of dollars.
Yeah.
And anything that is being imported that is not leading to the growth of the economy, you put higher tariffs on it. That is how you control this type of situation. But they are not doing it. They allow every flow of the Nigerian craving for the dollar, even when it's not helping to stimulate our own economy.
Okay, Atune, thank you for calling in on that. Let me give our guests the time to react to that. Thank you very much for the point that you raised.
I think it's correct. Cautious optimism. And in economics, it's ceteris paribus, all things being equal. So the optimism we have now is based on the fact that government will be able to sustain the tempo. The CBN will be alive to its responsibilities. We'll be able to take advantage of improvement in rating of the sovereign rating of the country. There'll be foreign investment. The gains from IMPR and all this stuff will be harnessed properly. We have the most expensive, probably one of the most expensive risk-free assets in the world. Foreigners are interested. If you are buying TBs in Nigeria, you probably earn about 18% for 180 per annum on 180-day TB or thereabouts. They are very lucrative. We expect more and more foreign portfolio investment, and in the infrastructure, we expect more direct investment. So it's cautious optimism, subject to the fact that the CBN will be able to intensify efforts and consolidate on the progress they've made so far. And that on the fiscal side of it, the president is able to reduce the cost of government, make the anti-graft efforts to work, and there's productivity in agriculture, in infrastructure, and across all sectors of the economy.
Well, thank you very much, Kayode. That's a fine place to leave it. Our guest this morning has been the economist, Mr. Kayode Oyedeji. And we're going to have to leave it here. It's looking up. There is still, Kayode emphasized it, and, Atune just called in from the UK, underlining that same whole point. There's a lot of room for improvement, but we're generally on an optimistic scale. Thank you very much for watching. That's our program for the day and indeed the week. Do have a great weekend. Catch you on Monday, which will happen to be Easter Monday. Look forward to that time. Bye-bye for now.
Bye, Mom.
He's going to play in this weather? Why did you let him go? He might fall ill.
And if he doesn't go out for practice, how will he win more trophies? To protect our family from illness-causing germs during the rainy season, we use Dettol soap every day.
Dettol with Germ Defense gives you protection. Rainy season brings a lot of germs, and Dettol soap's Germ Defense protects you from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Dettol soap is endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association. Be Dettol sure.
Here's what a good hair day looks like and feels like with the new Lush Hair Care range, made with a cocktail of nature's finest oils, with hibiscus oil for hair growth, rooibos oil to eliminate frizz, amla oil to prevent hair breakage, to give your hair life and bounce. So go ahead and be confident,
stunning, flawless, beautiful.
You deserve the soft life, so does your hair. Lush Hair. Be beautiful.
If you want to become something, become a child again.
Why be patient? If you must worry, then worry about winning. Why worry about germs? When you come home, bring tales and stories. Why bring in germs?
Shield your families from germs. When Dettol is a part of every household bucket, then you and your family can stay protected from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Everyday use of Dettol keeps my loved ones protected.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Today, there are many complex, boring, expensive, and useless exercise machines in the market. Or you pay over 400,000 Naira a year for gym membership and never go. ShopX TV is proud to introduce Total Crunch Evolution, the compact, versatile fitness solution that is perfect for you. With Total Crunch, you get a complete fitness workout in one machine. Say goodbye to ineffective and complicated exercise machines. Now, you have the power to transform your fitness journey and get the body you have always wanted right in the comfort of your own home. Total Crunch is the efficient and effective way to build muscle, tone and tighten your legs, shape your back and pectorals, while strengthening your core and defining your abs. Now that's totally effective to get the body you want. With Total Crunch, your whole body works out at the same time. Only Total Crunch can put your whole body in motion as you burn calories and lose weight. Just one fitness routine a week will achieve serious results in 4 weeks.
Total Crunch Evolution has enhanced the way I work out and the results I achieve. It's not just a fitness equipment, it's a life changer. This versatile, time-saving machine is perfect for anyone looking to lose weight or stay in shape. Trust me, this is a game changer you've been waiting for.
With my busy schedule, finding time to work out and stay in shape has always been a challenge until I discovered the Total Crunch Evolution. It's a lifesaver.
Traditional exercise equipment is large, complex, takes up so much space in your home, and you could be paying up to 400,000 Naira for annual gym fees. Get the Total Crunch Evolution, the 2-in-1 fitness solution to save the cost and transform your body from the convenience of your home. Similar equipment costs 300,000 Naira, but you can get the Total Crunch Evolution for not 300,000 Naira, not even 200,000 Naira. Order right now and get your Total Crunch Evolution for just 179,950 Naira only. And that's not all. You can get our Total Crunch Evolution in 2 easy payments of 89,975 Naira. That's right. Pay twice to get your Total Crunch. And remember, if you order now, you get the Total Crunch Evolution delivered to you for free anywhere you are in Nigeria. And it comes with a ShopX 30-day money-back guarantee. Call the number on your screen now or scan the code to place your order now. But hurry, limited stock available. The proceeding is a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
welcome to TVC News, TVC Midday News. We're staying with the latest development coming in from Okwama in Delta State, where Nigerian army has taken custody of King of Ewu Kingdom from police and has moved him to Abuja. Clement Ikolu, who is one of the 8 people declared wanted by the Nigerian army in connection with the killing yesterday, turned himself in to the police in Delta State. Before going to the police command headquarters, the king spoke to journalists and explained that he is innocent. The military authorities on Thursday released pictures of 8 persons wanted in connection with the killing of his personnel in Okwama, Delta State. And so other stories. Today is Good Friday, also known as Holy Friday. It is a day in the Christian faith that commemorates the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. This day holds great significance for Christians worldwide, as they believe it marks the sacrifice Jesus made for the salvation of humanity. Good Friday is observed on the Friday before Easter Sunday, and is part of the Holy Week that begins with Palm Sunday and ends with Easter Sunday. The origins of Good Friday can be traced back to the early days of Christianity, when Jesus was crucified in Jerusalem as a criminal. The crucifixion was a brutal form of punishment imposed by the Roman authorities on those who were deemed enemies of the state. For Christians, Good Friday is a day of fasting and abstinence to show solidarity with the suffering of Jesus. It is a time for introspection and prayer, as believers reflect on their own sins and shortcomings in the light of the sacrifice made by Jesus on the cross. Good Friday serves as a reminder of the need for repentance, forgiveness, and reconciliation with God and with others. And President Bola Tinubu has joined the Christian faithful to commemorate Easter, a significant moment and a glorious celebration of the triumph of life over death. The president, in a statement by his special advisor, Ajuri Ngelale, used the occasion to ask Christians in Nigeria and around the world to emulate the sacrifices of Jesus Christ and his compassion as the patent themes of this solemn season. He notes that the sacrifice of Jesus Christ for humanity is an emphatic lesson for leaders and all Nigerians to yield to selflessness and compassion, and be steadfast in the pursuit of a united, peaceful, and prosperous nation. President Tinubu strongly commends Nigerians for the sacrifices they have made in the past few months for the nation to be steered to the path of recovery and sustainable growth, assuring them that the seeds of patience which they have sown are beginning to sprout and will in no time bring forth an abundance of good fruits. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu called on religious leaders, or is calling on religious leaders to refrain from denigrating the nation in their sermons. Speaking during Ramadan Iftar with traditional rulers and religious leaders at the State House on Thursday, the president emphasized the important role of religious leaders in shaping public opinion and fostering a sense of unity among citizens. He urged the leaders to be more constructive in their criticism of those in elective positions. President Tinubu also declared that his administration is determined to turn Nigeria's challenges into prosperity. He reiterated that no terrorist can defeat the collective will of Nigerians, no matter how hard they try to prey on innocent citizens. In the meantime, messages of goodwill have continued to pour in for President Tinubu as he turns 72. The president has chosen to go about the business of governing the country and has asked that no celebrations hold. But despite this, the messages are coming in. Members of the president's cabinet and some of his political associates acknowledged the president's effort at ensuring good governance and improving livelihood.
President Bola Tinubu has asked that his birthday should be celebrated low-key, without the usual fanfare. He said because of the present mood of the country and the killing of officers and men of the army and police in Delta State and the spate of security breaches across the country, there should be no form of birthday event.
The President and Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces.
The Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale, insists the President's efforts and directive to guarantee the safety of lives and property has paid off.
He gave us the mandate that we must listen to people and we must do what is right, and we should make sure that we bring the level of insecurity to a minimal, very level.
President Bola Tinubu means so much to different people. His ministers appreciate his leadership and they are glad to have the opportunity to serve.
Nigerians are now
a close confidant and political ally of the president, Honorable James Faleke, described the president as a special child. He acknowledged President Tinubu's contribution to the country. He says his transformative leadership has improved the state of the nation.
The gain is enormous because everybody will now start to gain the benefits of this reform. So for me, it has come at a difficult time and he's weathering the storm. Nigeria is going to be better under Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment wished the President more wisdom to steer the affairs of the country.
Mr. President, I would like to wish you a happy birthday with long life and prosperity. May God continue to bestow upon you continued grace, continued wisdom, courage, health, and everything.